Time is 9:29. Am I? Okay.
Hi, Dwight.
Hello.
Am I? You are.
You know, I get excited when there's an audience to perform in front of.
Y'all don't encourage
I just need a microphone.
Tone it down.
Oh,
All right, well, let's get started.
maybe.
Yeah. All right, if y'all will stand for the. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Let us pray. Dear Father, we just thank you for allowing us to come together today. We would ask your guidance as we make decisions for the people of Hutchinson County. We are especially thankful for the rain that you've given us over the weekend. We feel very blessed. Please continue to watch over the law enforcement, our first responders, and special prayers for our school children and our teachers and all of our school administration as they start their new years. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We may kind of skip out of order real quick and go all the way down to item 23, which is to consider and or approve interlocal agreements with the City of Borger, City of Fritch, City of Stinnett, and Crutch Ranch Volunteer Fire Department. Because we have our fire departments here. Thank you for coming, but we have a couple of them that need to get off to other appointments real quick. So Mark, do you want to start and just, or Jerry, do you have anything to add before we get started?
With the, over the past year, during our fire response, there's been an increase in fuel and maintenance costs, things like that. With the budget, the local fire departments most of them are behind in as far as fuel and maintenance. And so they're bringing a amended or an additional contract to the commissioner's court for an increase in their budget, so they can equal out their fuel and maintenance costs for the next fiscal year.
So they're not large changes. And they're here in case y'all have any questions. I don't know if y'all had any questions for any of our fire departments, or we have the City of Borger. Garrett's here representing them with their contract, and then
So, would you mind if I talk?
yes, absolutely.
So I did run some numbers from this August, 12 months back compared to the previous 12 months. And so at least in our department, we've had a loss of $815 in this last 12 months. And our fuel costs are up for us, which we're only asking for $1,000, but our fuel costs are up $1,187 for this last 12 months. So.
So you're asking for $1,000 increase. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Garrett, you want to address the City Board, and you can come up. Hey, Dwight, we.
This is our contract hasn't changed since 2016.
Thank you.
And so this just kind of,
I'll give one to Tim.
thank you.
Thanks. And one more, if you have.
I brought plenty of,
Oh, thank you.
I figured there'd be some.
Thank you.
But this just kind of shows our, the top set of numbers is like the total operating costs and budget of the fire department. The bottom one is without capital. So you kind of see the change in operating expenses over the time since we last talked. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. This year, we're looking at a 5% increase over budgeted last year, just with kind of some of the inflationary factors. And over time, since 2016, it's been about an average of a 5% increase, which is why you're seeing a 5% requested increase in that contract. But like I said, those are the numbers and some of the percentages, so you can see where we came from. But I answer any other questions that anybody might have.
You have any questions?
Numbers always make it easier.
Thanks.
Sometimes.
Right. Thanks, Garrett. Dirk, did you want to address Danette? Oh, Alan's here. I didn't see you back there. Sorry. Alan, can you come up to the front so we can hear you better? Thank you.
Some numbers as well. Basically, since October the 1st of last year, we've had 274 calls. 134 of those were EMS or aircraft standby. 113 calls were calls for service outside the city of Stinnett. 3 of those being outside the county. With leaving us with a total of 27 calls within the city limits for fire service. So basically, we spent 41% of our budget for outside the city of Stinnett. And what we get from the county basically represents 29% of our budget, with 41% of our calls being out in the county. We asked for an additional 2,000 to assist with fuel. And the fuel is actually, we're $1,500 over budget as of right now for this current year.
Questions? Okay. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
And Drew, let's see you walk in. Yeah. For the city of Fritch.
Good morning, everybody. Much like my cohorts who you just heard from, our numbers are roughly kind of the same. Last 3 years worth of data showed that the lowest percentage happens to be from this calendar year so far. 85% of the call volume for our fire departments in the unincorporated areas of the county. Previous 2 years stood at 90%. And looking back through what limited records we have at City Hall, it looks like 2014 is as far back as our data goes, and the county's stipend for fire service has remained the same for the last 8 years. So we've requested about a 10% increase just to help cover good old inflation. Be happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Okay. Thank you. Jerry, were all of those numbers were reflected in the new interlocal?
All of the contracts were received by the city managers, all those numbers and what they're requesting.
Okay.
Today.
All right. So we just need to approve these interlocal agreements that we have with each of the cities and or fire departments. Y'all have any questions for any of them?
You need them individual or all together?
We can do them individually or all together, doesn't matter. I mean, I've got one agenda item to consider and to approve all, but
I'll do, I agree with all of them, but I move to accept the interlocal agreement with Fritch contract.
do you want to do them all together? If so, we just need to name them
Okay.
all.
I move to accept the interlocal agreement with Fritch, City of Fritch, Fire Department, City of Stinnett,
Mhm.
Fire Department, City of Borger Fire Department, and Fretch Ranch Fire Department.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second to approve the interlocal agreements for fire protection. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, motion passes. Thanks, y'all, for coming. I know Mark has another appointment, so appreciate y'all. Okay, and then I'm gonna skip real quick to introduction. So Josh Brooks is here with the AgriLife Extension, and he is going to introduce hopefully our new employee.
Yes, I'm proud to be here this morning. I appreciate the Hutchinson County Court for the support that they give to Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. I'm happy to present Hannah Connor. She's a graduate of Texas A&M with a Ag Communications degree. If we put her in this position, she'll first step in Hansford County with Christie for 30 days or so to kind of get a little bit of training going, and then be here October the 1st. I mean, she starts on
Start date is September 1,
Yes, but she'll be truly in the office, after.
but she'll be doing orientation.
That's right.
Okay.
She'll go to College Station to Discover Extension. That is on the 5th because of the Labor Day weekend, but our first day to start.
In the office.
In the office will be September 1st.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And my mistake, I did not get that on the agenda to consider and or approve. So that has to be done before she can actually start. So we're going to try to call a special meeting on Monday just to have that agenda item and get that in place. If we're everyone in agreement.
She's taking the blame for it, but I didn't call her last week either, so.
It's my fault.
Our fault. I was in a meeting in College Station on last week, so I didn't even think about calling, but go from there. So, Hannah.
Nice to have you here. Thank you.
No big speech.
We'll put it in the minutes, and y'all's portion of the salary and all that next Monday.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, okay. And we just took that off what was on last.
Yes, it's.
Yeah.
27,108. Whatever.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations.
All right, we're looking forward to having you here. And we'll do that special meeting Monday just to ratify that. Hopefully everyone will,
What time?
9:30. That's what time we usually meet, if that works for you. Okay, all right. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Thanks, Josh. See you Monday. Okay, let's go back to item 2, which is to review the bills. Does anyone have any questions on the bills? Discussion? Motions?
I'll make the motion. We accept the bills as read.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. And I don't think we had any payroll this time. Item 5, any additions or corrections to our previous Commissioners Court meeting?
No corrections. That was the August 8th meeting.
Thank you. Item 6, any public comments?
I didn't see any sign up.
Okay, thank you. Item 7, consider, discuss, approve any and all items necessary or pertaining to the county jail.
For 25 inmates today, 3 males, all females, and in person, we have 1 male and 3 females.
Lights are being put in. They're over the next couple of days.
Working on them.
Are you happy with the way they're looking? Are you happy with the way the lights look?
Kathy, did you have anything on payroll?
The only thing I had was just a couple of our additions and relations and stuff.
Okay.
Okay, we had, of course, y'all know Amanda left the JP and went back into the JP. Adam, what? Salcedo, he started in the jail on 8/22 today. And then Rochelle Knoll, I think she's in the tax office, and her last day in the tax office was 8/4. So that's real. Oh, and Denise Leday, she's starting
Today.
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
The 25th in the JP as the clerk.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let you.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, item 8, consider, discuss, approve any and all items necessary or pertaining to the county courthouse.
Yeah, a couple of things. We got to replace the electronic panel board on the chiller. It will not communicate with a laptop computer to clear the codes and the default codes and the faults. But it's working, but we can't access the chiller panel board. And we got some faults in there we can't clear. And the only thing we can do is replace the board. The board is 5787, and then time you get a couple of trips, we already had one trip out here, to put it in, it's gonna be, we'll have about $8,000 in this. To replace
How
the
old
board.
is that?
It's about, I think around 10 years old.
Oh, okay,
The chiller's older than the rest of us,
right.
but we've got train up here and they, something in the board, we can't.
Hmm.
You can't do that about it.
Okay.
Then Scott Franklin, who's been dealing with the roof. He had emergency surgery, a serious illness, and he was out for a while. That's the reason it's taking a little while to get the roof project going, but he's back working, and he should be here probably Wednesday to get a proposal together.
Are we gonna be able to get all that done before? I mean, well,
Before winter.
does it have to be done before the end of the budget year, or are we using ARP?
We should be just deductible.
Okay.
Is what we're hoping for.
Okay,
It's not a lot.
good.
We're hoping to get it done, get both the jail and the courthouse done with just paying our deductible,
Okay,
because they totaled both routes. So
yeah, right.
we're in pretty good shape.
Okay, good deal. Thank you. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is interviews for Constable Precinct 2. And so when we did our interviews last time, we asked all of our candidates to have a seat out in the hallway, and we would interview you separately. So if our constable candidates will, and Ron, you can stay because we're going to do you first, because we'll just go in alphabetical order. How about that? So Angelica, if you want to have a seat in the hallway. Okay, so I sent you all the applications that we have. And so Ron, you can just start out by telling us why you are interested in being appointed as the constable.
Well, I would not have retired the last time that the election was if I hadn't got beat. But I like the job. Retirement's not that great to suit me. I like doing something, so, and I've done it for 22 years. I believe I've had lots of experience at it. And know lots of the people that come and go in the deal, so, I'd just like to have my old job back. Anything you want to ask me?
Well, I know you're one of the questions that we asked when we were interviewing for precinct 1 was, what do you think a typical working day of a constable consists of? But you probably are full aware of that since you've been the constable for 22 years.
Some days you do nothing except sit in the court, and then other days you drive all over your dang precinct trying to get the papers served. So you can't, it's never the same any 2 days.
So do you plan to run in the next primary election if you're appointed?
I've already told her, called her here today, told her to put my name in the pile. I'm running.
You guys have any questions for Ron?
What do you think about the new cars?
Oh.
You think you'll use it?
Huh?
You think you'll use the new
Well,
car?
I'll have to trial and error it, but I would have rather had the $400 a month and have something like that to wad up and get in, but that's what y'all have done, so I'll do the best I can with what we got. And I'll let you know the next court deal after, if I get appointed.
Hey, y'all have any other questions for Ron? Okay, Ron, if you'll have a seat.
All right, thank y'all.
Oh, oh.
Hey Kathy, will you holler at Angelica and have her come in? Angelica. Probably took care of it. Yeah. Ron's got our back.
You're fine.
Hello. So this is Angelica. How do you say your last name? Hartraft. Okay. I'm stumbling over that every time I see your name.
Okay.
Yeah. So just tell us why you're interested in being appointed as Constable Precinct 2.
It actually is something that I have been looking for, just with the hours and being in law enforcement for as long as I have. It's just something that appealed to me. So my precinct, I like to work within my community, so that would be a chance to help reconnect with people that, you know, I've worked with before. So.
Can you maybe expand a little bit on your background as far as your law enforcement background?
So I graduated the Panhandle Law Enforcement Academy in 2007. So I've been in law enforcement. I had a 2-year break because I had my daughter, so I stayed at home to raise her. So that was about the only break that I had. I worked, well, I'll kind of, sorry. I'm trying to figure out where I want to start. In the community, I started there in Fritch. Before that, I did work for Moore County and the city of Dalhart. In Fritch, I stayed there and I worked there as a canine officer for almost 3 years. And then that's whenever I took my break in service. So it was about a 2-year break. And then from there, I went to the Harrisburg County Sheriff's Office where I worked under Tim Glassman Trail for the DA's office. But I worked for him for, I think it was almost 8 years. And I decided to go back full time. So I stepped into the Hutchinson County Sheriff's Office. So I did work here for almost a year. After the change in sheriffs, I went to the Vista Police Department where I stayed for a little over 8 years time. And I only quit there because we were shorthanded. I did want something where I could be, you know, a little more better timing with my kids because I do have a son that just graduated. I have a daughter that is a senior this year, and then this is 6th grade. So it just worked out better that I stayed home with them for a little bit. So this is just a good opportunity. I hope for y'all as well as me.
So Angelica, what are your what do you think is a typical working day for a constable?
So I believe that it would be serving the JP courts, serving the JP, maybe writing writs, eviction notices, serving a lot of civil paperwork, and a lot of working with the community.
So if you're appointed to this position, do you have plans to run in the next primary election?
I do.
So how long do you see yourself working in this position?
For as long as I can get. I feel like this is something that is a very good statement for me. So I think I'll enjoy it.
Hey, y'all have any questions? No? Okay. If you want to just have a seat in the hallway, that'd be great. All right, thanks. Okay, I think that the next item on our agenda is to break into executive session. So sorry, everybody. Here I'm like, oh, Jan, when you Jan. Okay, so we went out at 9:54. Back in at 10:08. Okay, item 11 is to consider and or approve action from the executive session. Do I hear a motion or discussion or?
So make a motion, we appoint Angelica Hartraft as Constable Precinct 2.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? I'm going to abstain. So it looks like the motion carries. Angelica, congratulations.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
So you'll need to get with,
Does it start September 1st?
yes. Yeah, September 1. You'll need to get with Kathy. Get all your stuff done. Okay, all right. Good luck. Thanks, Ron.
All right.
Okay, the next item is item 12, consider and or approve order of election for county officer and order of special election for unexpired term.
I sent those out and the order of special election, it will have the Constable Precinct 1 and 2 on it. And Craig did look at that and made some changes on the verbiage on that. So that was with his blessings on that order. So.
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the order of election for county officer and order of special election for unexpired term.
I second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Item 13, consider and or approve joint election between Spring Creek Independent School District and Hutchinson County.
So their attorney contacted me. They may have an election, but she will know definitely today. So in order to get the ball rolling in case they do and to get everything ordered, I told her I was going to put it on here to get approval.
If they need to move forward.
Right, so they will actually involve 3 early voting places and only 1 election day precinct. Precinct 11 is the only one. So on their contract, I put that they would pay 1/3. I didn't think it was fair for them to pay half because they're not in every precinct.
Right.
As all the others have been. So that was what we agreed upon. Okay. If that's okay with y'all.
I move.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the joint election between Spring Creek Independent School District and Hutchinson County. Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further
I
discussion?
was reading, sorry.
All in favor?
I looked down at 14. Oh,
All right, item 14, consider and or approve the bond for Shasta K. Hughes in the amount of $1,000. You know, Shasta works for us in the juvenile probation department.
I move to approve the bond for Shasta K. Hughes in the amount of $1,000 for the bond.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Item 15, consider and or approve continuation certificate for Teresa Bello in the amount of $100,000. You know, Teresa works in the tag office. That's why it's so high.
Make a motion, we approve the continuation certificate.
A second.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, item 16 is public hearing to consider, hear and or approve any and all persons concerning the county clerk's records management and archive plan. Do we have anyone out there in the public that wants to make a comment about the archive plan?
It's exciting.
I know. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item 17. That's to consider and or approve the county clerk's record management archive and vitals plan. I sent you, emailed that out. I'm sure you all read through that, understand every single thing about it.
Motion to approve the county clerk's record management plan.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Thank you. Item 18, consider and or approve the Vista SG contract for document storage for the treasurer and auditor's office. Alicia or Kathy, do y'all have any comments on that?
This is just to replace the Laserfish software that we were using. I looked into, our Laserfish that we're using now is becoming obsolete. And so, I tried to look at what it would be to upgrade to Laserfish Cloud and then other options. And this was the better option. Laserfish Cloud was gonna cost us about $5,000 a year. And this one will end up being about $2,700 per year. And it's the same, company that Jan is gonna be using, so we will have an established relationship already.
Just for, is it about 27,000 for auditor and then 27,000 for?
2,700.
Or 2,700, sorry, I meant that. My brain said 2,700.
Half between,
Okay, it's not. Okay, all right, I was just curious.
if the initial cost will be $10,200, that's just for the first year of getting everything set up and all of our data moved over from Laserfish to Vista. But after that, the annual is just $2,700.
I move to approve the Vista SG contract for storage for the treasurer and auditor's office.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, item 19, consider and or approve cell phone allowance of $50 a month for Constable Precinct 1, Roman Alejandro, and $49.61 a month for Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, Amanda Wysong. So they both submitted their actual billing to Kathy. And so that's why Amanda's amount is a little different. That's the total of her bill.
I move to approve the cell phone allowance of $50 a month for Constable 1, Roman Alejandro, and $49.61 for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2, Amanda Wysong.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, item 20, consider and or approve interlocal agreement with Opportunities, Inc. This is to get these, just get these things in place for our budget. So we have an agreement with them on the amounts that the county usually provides for them. And we have to have these interlocals in place. So the interlocal is good for 3 years and then we'll redo it. But it does, Craig has looked over these interlocals and we did add some things in there that allowed us, if funds were not available, then we can terminate the agreement.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Opportunities Incorporated.
Okay, motion, do we have a second? So motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. That amount with them is $9,400. All right, and then the next agenda item is to consider and or approve interlocal agreement with High Plains Food Bank. Same situation, and the amount that we give to them is $2,500.
Make a motion, we approve the agreement with High Plains Food Bank.
Here's a second. Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Hopefully by the next meeting, all of our nonprofits that we give money to, will have all of our interlocals in place with them and updated. All right, item 22 is to consider and or approve constables and sheriff's fees for 2023. Sheriff's not here. Laura, do you have anything to add? He did in his agenda item said no changes to the fees. I don't think we made any changes last year.
You submit those and no
Yeah.
changes.
So we just have to get them into the state by a certain period of time.
I
Send
move,
those in.
I do.
And they've been done on the, with the state as well.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the constables and sheriff's fees for 2023.
motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, we already took care of item 23. So item 24 is to consider and or approve the fire marshal job description. So we updated that job description. I sent that out to y'all. Do y'all have any questions on that? Jerry, did you need to make any comment on that? No. Do I hear a motion to accept this job description?
I'll make a motion to approve the fire marshal job description.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I oppose.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item 25 is to consider and or approve any ARP grant projects. So I actually received 3 applications since our last meeting. However, 1 application was withdrawn. So I have 2 at this point. The first one is from Kathy in regards to consideration of on top of the raise that we are proposing to give a one-time $2,000 stipend to, I don't know if that's the correct word, but I think they call it premium pay, right? Premium pay to all employees of Hutchinson County. And we can use the ARP funds for non-exempt employees. And Kathy's proposing that we do that as well as use the county funds for the exempt employees. So we have approximately 38 exempt, 87 non-exempt. The approximate cost to have their jobs. I have been here, let's see. So yeah, I didn't. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I skipped a line here. So the approximate cost for exempt would be 91,000 and non-exempt would be 208,000 out of the ARP money. Well, the 208 out of the ARP money and 91 out of county funds. Discussion.
Altogether, with the non-exempt is 298,000.
99,
209.
correct? 290. Yeah, so the 208 could come out of that lost revenue funds, the ARP money. But if we can't pay exempt employees premium pay out of the ARP, so Kathy was just asking that we do that across the board for everybody and just use the exempt employees, 91,000 to come out of county funds.
I think it's a good thing. And on top of, we got to put the ARP money to good use. And so, I mean, we're nickel and dime on different projects. If we're not going to have a big vision, and one of those visions can be to give back to our employees. And then the quicker put it to good use, we can get back to just normal and not have to worry about those anymore.
I
agree. I think it's good.
I see a lot of people offering like sign-on bonuses and things like that to lure people to come apply, at their companies or wherever. But I don't see a lot of people saying, hey, we're going to give you X amount of dollars or even any money because you've been a loyal, long-term employee. And I think there's something to be said for people and retention and people that have hung with us and worked every single day during the pandemic. Some people, like at the jail and sheriff's office, probably put their lives out there on the line way more than the rest of us that were in the courthouse, not really seeing people in the public for a month, but everybody continued to work. So I'm all for it.
I'm okay with it.
Any other questions?
I just have some things to think about.
Yes.
If it is something that you do, when will it be done? Two, will it be, I mean, is it gonna be just paid to anybody who is on the payroll at the time that we pay it? Or will they have to have been there for a certain number of months or days or years or?
Right.
So
Those are things,
just things to think about.
right. Those are things we need to,
We need to have, you know, all of the stipulations as to what it is. I mean, if it's gonna be paid on the,
This has to
say
be a-
November the 30th check, so they've got it for Christmas or whatever, you know, if it's on whoever's on the payroll on November the 30th, everybody gets it, or if it's gonna be whoever starts at the beginning of the budget year, or those are just things to think about.
I don't see it.
so Kathy, this is
Yeah.
your proposal, your grant request. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it needs to be paid. It probably can't be paid in October because we're gonna be busy in October with other payroll changes. I would say sometime in November. I probably wouldn't pay it with the payroll. I'm just thinking about an individual because having that added to your check is gonna bump up your taxes and stuff.
The IRS also says if you do it as a different payment, that you have to hold a certain percentage out. So it may be more beneficial to include it altogether, even though it does bump them up.
What did you just say, Alicia?
I would have to look at what the IRS notice says, but for any kind of bonus, if it's not included, there's a minimum of withholding that you're supposed to do.
Okay, well, so what
That might be less,
So that-
or it might be more than actually paying it with the,
Yes.
ARP looked different though. I hadn't looked at that in like probably 6 to 8 months, but that premium pay stuff, that there was something in there.
but they may have changed that.
And that's what I've read on the premium pay is that you have to hold taxes out. Of course, we know you have to hold retirement because our retirement requires any wages that you take that out if you're full-time. But now, what I've read on the IRS stuff is, and from dealing with a couple others, you just, whatever their tax thing is what you do, you know.
That's what I thought.
So
But if you add that to that,
it's 22% is the flat rate. If it's a bonus under $1 million, you're required to do a 22% withholding.
okay, well, we probably need to look and see if that's actually gonna be called a bonus or what it's gonna be called also. Because there's it's with the ARP money, I don't believe it's called a bonus. That's me.
Well, they've always referred to it as premium pay.
Right.
So we need
So
to.
we need to look at. We need
Maybe
to look.
notify the national and ask them or the treasury and say, okay. And then I could also get with some other treasurers to figure out if they've done it and what they did and how they paid.
Right. So we're looking at if approved, a possible November payment, either with payroll or separate from payroll. Okay.
Maybe the middle of November, 1st or, 15th or so of November or something like that.
Okay.
And I was talking about that with Monica because she was gonna do the premium pay thing too. That, I mean, you're gonna exclude somebody at some point. So we just have to say a certain date. I think if you're part of the county, then you get it. And if you're not, then you don't. Because there are people here that were here during COVID that are no longer with us. We can't go back and give them money.
Right. They have to be an active employee.
So I think we just choose a date and say if you're employed.
If you're employed, regardless of how long.
Include everybody, yeah. I think so.
So what's that date gonna look like? Is it gonna be the date of the payment, or is it gonna be the date of the beginning of the fiscal year?
Well, I would think that it would need to be a date close to when we pay it, because if we say, if we approve this and we say, if you're employed as of today, and then next week they quit, then they still would
they would get it. I mean, they'd have to be active on the payroll.
Right.
And set
Okay,
the date
so
when
we,
you will pay.
there's two, a date and active employee.
Let's say
so if
she
they-
must be an active employee by October first.
Yeah, if you're in, or whatever date you want to use, yeah, you have to be, and if they,
Full-time.
yeah, full-time, well, I guess full-time, I included full-time, I didn't put part-time in there, but. I don't know, I have to look at that and say. I mean, it's whatever date y'all are looking at.
I think you need to pick whatever date you want to pay it.
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be in November then, because I just don't see October looking good.
Right, because there's just a
I
lot.
was just saying they're active but if active, well, that, I get what you're saying. Because if they quit October 2nd,
What about November 1?
Well, you can set continuation. You say you have to be in the system active by October 1 and still be active at the time of payment. And I mean, if they quit October 2nd, they don't get it. You can put those stipulations on that if you wanted to.
What's best for whatever?
I'm just, no date isn't particularly, I just, things to think about.
We just,
We need to set those guidelines as to when it will be paid, when you have to be an active employee by, and how long do you need to process, I mean, if you're gonna cut the checks on November the 15th, do you need to know 30 days in advance so you can get it all set up in the computer? I mean, how many days is it gonna take you to process that payroll?
Well, it'd probably only take that week. We just would need to know. For sure, like, let's say an employee quit on November the 16th. They turned in their thing. Or they turned in a 2-week notice and they are staying through that. I mean, I guess you could just beat it to death if you wanted to.
Right.
I don't think-
every situation.
Got to choose something
Yeah,
to
I
go
think
with
you
it.
do too. I think you just have to say they're employed whatever date. If they're still employed, November 15th or whatever, then yes, they'll get that check. And I'm sure they understand that we have to take taxes, whatever their tax thing says, we have to take Social security, and we have to take retirement.
And you have to think about those two. And if they start on November the 14th and we get paid on the 15th, do they get included as well?
Yeah, that's the reason I think you'd have to have an active date,
Right.
a month or two. before
October
that.
1st
Yeah.
and November.
I mean, it's kind of like, well, let's say October 1st. If you said October 1st, then they have to be employed here October 1st. If they're not, if they come to work October the 10th, they're not gonna get it. If they quit October 10th, they're not gonna get it.
Right.
So active by October 1.
Or whatever date y'all are thinking, that's up to y'all.
And-
And-
And then still active at the
And then
time of payment.
Still, yeah.
Remain active at time of payment.
Because that also kind of gives, like a 45-day, you have to have worked here for 45 days. If we pay out middle of November.
Mhm.
I like that.
And it will be for full-time employees only, or full-time and a prorated for part-time, or, sorry, I'm the devil's advocate.
No, we need to,
They're like
no.
thinking,
how many part-time employees do we have, off the top of your head? That's right.
I would say full-time.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
sounds good.
That's just,
And you're talking full-time supplement too? Supplement people, because we have several supplement people, remember that.
What was your
That mean?
proposal with?
I put in 125 and that was pretty much, I counted everybody. So that includes district judges, DA.
right, yes,
I don't have one right now, but.
right.
we did have sub in.
I don't think it's going to be, as far as part-time, if we're going to tell everybody we value you, thanks for sticking it out with us, and we ignore our part-time, I think that's kind of crappy on our end too.
Well,
I think-
you have a life
I think if we give like 500, or I mean, like something smaller to part-time, because they're not giving us full-time, I think that's something to look into, because I can't say,
How many part-times do we have?
yeah, you have one in the
at
library, one in the museum.
We have
One
a
at the tag
museum,
office,
Have Brenda in the tax
Mhm.
office. We have
the
one in
library.
the library, but I think that's fixing to get a new one there instead of this
Yeah,
one.
she wouldn't,
I don't think she's
she
gonna be
wouldn't.
there. You know, and you're also talking a part-time in a museum that only works 16 hours a month, though. I mean, we have a kind of a full part-time and then a part-time. He only works part-time. Airport's got a part-timer.
How- What does our normal, like a normal part-timer work?
They can't work more than 29 hours in a week.
And do most of our part-timers work 29 hours a week?
Pretty much, except for that one in the museum, which is kind of in and out, you know.
Mhm.
Our airport works 29, our library, Brenda puts in pretty much that, you know. And we don't really have that many part-timers anymore. We used to have quite a few, but
Well, it's just a third of the work of a regular worker then, right? For part-time. So do we pay them a third?
2/3 and 3/4. If they're working almost 30 hours. a week.
Oh, be half then. Well, no, it'll be over half.
I'd
3/4.
say 500. For our
500 for part-timers?
Yep.
I'm all right. And we still have time. Do you want to, on those questions, would it be, since we have time, do we want to kind of table and just say we'd lean in towards something and then
yeah, because
we don't have to kind of prove it?
Yeah, no, because it's ARP funds, so well, that, the others, that be more budget driven.
Let's still get everything
because we
time.
will have to budget that.
Well, and since the ARP is a special revenue, it doesn't have to be adopted like the general fund or the road and bridge fund, or, you know, one of those major funds. And we could just, you know, do like we do, and it's budgeted as a general grant money. And then once we decide where we want to spend it, we just do a line item transfer into what we're actually going to spend it on.
Except for the.
Except for the exempt.
Yes, so the
No,
exempt people, if you're gonna pay it out of general fund, then we need to get that budgeted.
Yes.
Before we adopt the budget.
Which we could, since we're gonna have a meeting Monday, we could talk about this again if we can get the answers.
And then we can do some more looking to see if it's beneficial to do a one-time, you know, by itself payment or just include it on their November check or.
Okay. So do y'all wanna, do I have a motion to table this?
Make a motion, we table this application, I guess.
No, second it.
I guess we'll need to do that. It's really kind of falls under one big agenda item. But we'll, if we get some info, we'll put it on, I'll put it on the agenda for Monday and we'll talk about it some more. Okay. Oh, all in favor of tabling? Sorry, thank you. Any opposed? Okay, great. All right, and then the other ARP application project was from the sheriff. And he just put housing inmates in Carson County, not enough funds in the budget to pay August and September. And he would like $20,000.
With that, I got with Laura, since they signed the interlocal and Carson County has started, charging us. That was not budgeted for.
Right.
And so rather than trying to find money in the existing budget to move over to that line item, maybe using the ARP funds to cover it until the budget year starts. And we do have it budgeted for this next budget year.
Right.
So that's gonna be for how many months?
September and October,
Yes. No.
August and September, I'm sorry, August and September.
They found, they had enough in their line item to pay for June, and then they moved some money around to cover July. And so this would just be for August and September.
I move to,
So, hold on. So what happens if, since it's ARP money, you know, with, last month was like 7,800 for housing inmates, what happens with excess? Like if we grant 20,
Nothing happens for it. They can only use it for inmate housing. And so if it's any excess, we'll just roll over into fund balance for the ARP fund.
We don't
Okay.
think that we'll be using that much.
Because we're down a lot.
Right.
In September, since some of them already been transferred.
right?
So we might be looking about 3 or 4. That's housed over there right now, so I can get a purchase order done. So it's not gonna be as big as the bill that was.
And these funds won't be in their local budget that they can use to move around to somewhere else.
Right.
It's stuck in
Right.
Fund 46. which-
So I mean, once we pay those two, it just kind of dissolves.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as of right now, my plan is to go pick up those remaining 3 females this week, since our count is low, but I mean.
That could happen,
Overnight.
yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
We will continue to help them now over there because it's kind of a special situation. But I hope to not have any more after this week. But like I said.
I mean, at least we're down, so,
Yeah.
because I think last time you reported 7.
We did ask for more money in the budget for inmate housing just because of this reason for next year's budget.
Right.
If expecting, not.
And that line item is one of the ones that's on the budgeting policy that they can't move money out of. I mean,
I hereby move to award the $20,000 for from ARP funds in regards to housing inmates in Carson County.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? No? Okay. Okay, those are the only 2 ARP grant projects I have. The next item is item 26, consider and/or burn ban or rescind the burn ban. How much rain did we get actual total? Oh, he has a graph. Of course he does.
Here's over the past 48 hours, these are our mesomet sites that we have in Port Purchase cement. It's like cement, got the wind on this one at 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches there in Bridge, and then just about 1 inch in quarter. So like I said, depending on where you're actually at, it can vary, but these are our actual mesomet sites. So ready to follow us $40. These are currently the counties that are in burn ban right now. And our, this is as of yesterday, I updated the new one. But yesterday, our drought index was a 492, so it was actually still pretty high. I'm expecting that to drop probably 30, 40 points, depending on what we're getting out of that rainfall that we got. So this is the 8 to 14 day outlook on some weather graphics. So on our temperature, we're looking at below normal on some temperatures over the next 8 to 14 days. And above normal on the chances for precipitation. So it's all good on our graphics. So let's hope that continues that direction. As far as the 492, that's still pretty high on our drought index. I recommend no action at this time. Hopefully we get some beneficial rainfall, maybe possibly looking at the lift in the burn ban by next commissioner's report. I'm hoping.
Okay. All right, so thank you, no action. All right, 27 is to consider and approve disposal of obsolete office equipment. I had a couple of requests, one from the juvenile department to dispose of a list of things, chairs, laser jet printer, bunch of printers and monitors and computers and shredders. And then one from the sheriff's department to dispose of a Canon printer.
Make a motion, we approve all those. For disposal.
I second it. Sorry.
The motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. And then item 28 is to accept certificates of completion from elected or appointed officials.
I have one, it's mine, for the attendance at the annual election law seminar in Austin.
29, consider and or approve request for the use of the club rooms at the Border Library or Fritch.
I don't have any.
I just have something, the 25th, the Sanford Fritz volleyball. We'll be using our club room just to feed the volleyball girls.
Oh, cool.
And then on October, I don't really know the date. There will be a baby shower in there.
Item 30, consider and or approve line item changes, transfers and or budget amendments.
Sent this to you.
Yes.
It's just various people moving from one line item to another to cover expenditures. One amendment for some revenue that was received is for the Road and Bridge Department for work that they're billing out to other entities. And so we just put that amount back into their road and bridge materials to offset the cost that they purchase for other people.
Y'all have any other questions? Or motion?
I move to approve the requested budget amendments, transfers, or changes of line items.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? This is still good. I'll pass it around. Item 31, consider and or approve advertising, opening, accepting or awarding bids.
I don't have any, I did send out some invitation for proposals to about six accounting firms for proposal for the annual audit, and have a due date of September the 7th, but I have not received any. So
Talk about that the next meeting probably. Item 32, consider and or approve donations to Hutchinson County. We have one donation from Laura McIntyre made a donation of 54 Beanie Babies with an approximate value of $5 each, with an estimated total of $270 that was given to the sheriff's department so the deputies can hand them out to children. I know, that's awesome.
Make a motion, we approve that donation.
I second it.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Laura, are you going to send her a thank you card or do you want me to send one? I can send it if you'll just give me her contact information when we're done. Okay. All right, thanks. Item 33, accept reports from elected or appointed officials.
I have the district clerks and then also Dwayne's report, written report. Road and Bridge.
Item 34, discussion of county judges and commissioners precinct daily operations.
We're done with the sewer system, the main sewer line at the annex. And we're in the process of getting second bids for the bathrooms, which are over 70 years old.
Right.
It's gonna have to redo the sewer lines and remodel on the inside. We haven't gotten the rest, all the bids in yet. Should have them this week.
Y'all had them for 70 years, y'all could have them for 30 more. Shoot for 100. Centennial toilet.
The teeny tiny little toilet.
At the museum about a week ago, Clay shoveled the museum to about an inch of water on the floor. The water line in the alley broke. And they had guys repairing that, the city repairing that all day. Since that building's about 3 foot below ground level, it just went right into the museum. So we had advanced there, pulling all the water out. Set up fans. Since they've had that water stuff in the past, they've, under the displays, they have 2x4s raising everything up. So only some papers and older books were destroyed. So he reported that to you too.
Yes.
But we're gonna look into that. We're waiting on a proposal for open range to put a barrier. I mentioned this a couple months ago, to put up a barrier on the back. They didn't, we had that rain probably about a month ago, and we had that, all that hail and rain all at once. It did, nothing got in the museum then. And so the engineers were starting to think something different. They wanted to look at the roof. Since the water stuff in the alley keeps collapsing through the city, they're replacing it. But now that we have that seam there, I just want to go ahead. I called Open Range and just said, let's go ahead and do that project. If it fixes the rain, great. But if not, we at least have that barrier from anything like that going forward. And we're hoping to put that towards ARP once we get it. They said probably 10 to 20,000 on that. And then hopefully it'll fix both. But if not, it'll protect us from any of the lines, the water lines from the city doing that again.
So
Have any kind of a, go ahead.
I know I talked about making an insurance claim for the damage.
He said he got with you about that.
Oh,
So I asked him about it. He said when he talked to you, I can get with him about the actual claim. But he said he had
I don't
talked to you about
remember
it.
that.
So.
I'll look at it.
A little bit on the floor, aren't it?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
I told him it was a good idea. I mean, we
Make an
wanted
insurance
to
claim.
make the claim for it for that part.
Are they gonna put a French drain in there too, or is that possible?
Well, we're not gonna put a French drain on the backside because it's not water running up towards, I mean, there's no outlet that we can see how to do.
That's
So
what,
what they're gonna do is they're gonna put an impermeable, it's basically kind of a foundation, since there's not a foundation right there. They're basically putting a pseudo foundation along the side that should block all that water. There's French drains on the other sides when they had that issue to the south side. When they put that sidewalk from the city park, they put a French drain under that, and then they put gutters on the north side on that petroleum park, and that's taking care of the water, any water coming in on those sides. But they think that we did ask them about a French drain. They think this is the route to go to block it, where there's no, because they can't decide where they would send it. They put a drain in there.
Yeah.
So as soon as I get that number and those quotes, we'll bring them forward.
Okay,
And I'll get
anything?
with them about the insurance, because
Yeah.
we'll make sure. I'll
We'll
get
look at that again. Okay, anything else on daily operations? Item 35, we don't have any struck off tax properties or tax deeds this time. So item 36 is our public hearing on our proposed tax rate and proposed salary increase. What about yeah. Okay, item 37 is our budget work session. Oh, y'all should have received the updated proposed budget. And do y'all have questions or anything that needs to be changed on that? We're pretty up to date with all the changes, right?
I think so.
I hate to do this, but I don't think our kitchen at the library is gonna get done before the budget year. So I need to add $6,000 to the capital improvements of the library in fridge.
Make it a total of 11. But there's 5 there.
Oh, we did take it to 5, didn't we? I was thinking I had it at 2, so 10,000 will be fine.
Rachel, what's that number?
516, 505. was 12,000 last year.
Who's doing that work for you? Do we know?
Yes, I know. They're just very busy.
Yeah, okay.
The one thing that I came across on the non-departmental for our copy paper. We've already had to move some money over there to cover copy paper and it's at $9,000. So I thought maybe we should raise that to $10,000.
I was thinking since we had to do the line item transfer, maybe I need to add 5,000 to the maintenance with the annex.
Maintenance and equipment.
So let's go in order.
Okay.
So 10,000 for the paper, is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
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 I will do that. Let's skip over any.
See.
So on the roof repair for the courthouse.
Yeah.
Will be out the deductible. Is that gonna happen in this fiscal year or do we need to plan?
I can't see that would happen.
Could, but we probably better plan for it next year.
Next year? Okay, so
So, yeah, we need to put our deductible in. I think, it's okay.
is that? Do you have any idea off the top of your head what the deductible is?
5,000? I thought you said it was 5,000.
5,000. And it may be just, since we're doing both at the same time, it may be only one deductible. We're doing the jail and courthouse together.
I don't know why I thought you told me it was gonna be 5 for each. What, 5 for courthouse, 5 for, but maybe not.
They're listed separately.
No,
and
when they
billed.
paid us on that, they only charged us one deductible
Oh, okay,
when we got the settlement, on it,
okay.
because they considered it one whole.
Oh, okay, good.
Which I would think it should be two, but.
Right.
The majority of the proceeds, but that'll just go into fund balance and roll over to.
Just in case, you probably should put 5 each.
Yeah, so 10,000 to the courthouse maintenance line.
But we got the check on that. They only charged us one deductible.
I'll increase maintenance and equipment for the courthouse from 75 to 85.
85.
Yeah.
To cover those. And then maintenance and equipment for the annex currently has $10,000 in it. They have done a budget amendment to move or a line item transfer to 5,000 to increase it to 15,000.
I think he moved 5 from that to the janitorials.
I thought so
No.
too.
That was for the, yeah, you're correct. So that 5,000 he did move before, that was to cover the roof repairs that you did. Which hopefully we won't
yeah.
have to do.
So 10,000 should be good then?
Yeah. I don't know. Something breaking down all the time.
We've got new air conditioner, we got a new roof, we're getting new sewer.
Now we got an issue with the door locks,
Yeah, we need to.
waiting on the locksmith to come by. Door lock on the janitor's room's not working. Door lock on the front door. East side. It's not working.
Okay. Okay, what else? We shall.
Gary said something about increasing the janitor supply. Is that what you were talking about?
No, the maintenance.
The maintenance.
Yeah,
So it's currently at 10,
yeah.
which is what it was the prior year.
Well, we took 5,000.
It was 15, wasn't it?
It started with 10, and then we did a budget amendment of 5 to cover the roof repairs. And now it's at 15, which they've spent 14 as of 7/8. I haven't updated this. My computer was dead, so I didn't bring it.
So you want to up it to 15?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit worried about it. Oh, and Dwight, they're just waiting on the top countertop. They had ordered. So they've already got the cabinets built for the annex. So I don't know, shortly they might be there.
I don't think it'll happen in the budget. We only got a month, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they've been super busy. The house I've been working on ended up being something else.
It's okay.
And on your bathroom remodel that you were discussing,
Yeah,
when is that gonna take place?
well, that'll be ARP money, hopefully. So, well, I don't know. Everybody's so darn busy.
And so we are upping the annex maintenance to 15.
Somebody okay with that? Any other spots?
Get the fire contracts corrected.
And just,
One thing, I know the sheriff had mentioned to me once before about possibly using ARP money for the purchase of squad cars for this next fiscal year. But we've got 180,000 budgeted. Do we want to decide now whether to leave that in the local budget, the general fund budget, or do y'all want to decide? I mean, if he applies for, if there's $180,000 in the budget that maybe doesn't need to be
in there,
do
Then we
we
could
need,
take
do
it out.
we want to take it out to 0 and let him use ARP money for the purchase of squad cars?
and then we got to put some back next year, but we could take that out this year.
Just answering questions that we're not the department head to kind of decide. So if he uses the ARP for the car purchases, he's not gonna need any cars additionally. How much is left in our ARP? That'd be, so we gotta deduct the
Should have got that statement.
190 salary stuff. What other open projects are we?
I have all that.
Oh,
on
okay, the
that
open
form that I
projects.
sent to y'all.
Yeah.
Anything that has not been paid, that thing I sent out last week, it's up to date.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you have a change?
I do.
So it has the salary
I
request.
have-
also
No,
in
it
there?
does not.
Oh,
have
okay.
I didn't include any ifs.
Oh, okay, that's what I meant. Yeah. So do we have any ifs left?
Do you want to look at it?
Oh, no, I've seen that one.
Oh, okay.
That's the one.
So the ifs that have been discussed would be
The cop,
salary,
the salary,
Salary.
the cop cars,
squad
because those are ifs.
So that would be probably 500,000.
The bathroom upgrade,
I plan on doing the museum.
Next year will be condensate lines here.
condensate,
That's, maybe 30,000, 35.
and you said what?
That foundation at the museum, we're gonna try to get covered.
And that's why I feel like there should be more of a plan regarding the ARP money.
Yeah.
Where you say, we want to see, we've got this amount left, and of this, we want to spend X amount on repairs and maintenance to our buildings, and we want to spend X amount on providing wish list stuff for our departments, and this amount on, so that it's not just a first come, first served
Right.
basis.
That's probably where we need to get our,
Got one, you have the same people asking, I don't know.
that's
just-
probably where we need to get our committee back together and make some decisions to bring to
We
the
just
court.
need to have some sort of plan on how to use it rather than, like you said, nickel and dime it here and there.
Mhm.
Cause I would be okay moving that money out, but let's say someone uses it up and he hadn't got his squad cars, then we don't have that budgeted.
Well, we'd
Which
have
is why
to
you could
cover
set
it.
aside 180,000 in ARP funds for that purpose. It would be earmarked
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, he'd need to get his request in the next few weeks or so before we propose.
Yeah, before,
Do the budget.
yeah,
Final
that's his. That's his.
And I don't know if that's his definite plan. He had just mentioned it.
He mentioned it to me too. I haven't
Cause
seen
I
the
haven't heard it,
application.
so.
Yes, ma'am.
So, at the office, we have that holding cell and that, I had the sink and everything, and I was gonna try to get some people to come in and give some bids and stuff on there to see and use the ARP money to put in. It's gonna have to have a new sink in there, and then the hot water and cold water, redone because the sink's almost off the wall. And all that, because when the deputies come in from outside, they go straight there, wash their hands, and what they've been touching and stuff, instead of going to the office down the hall and all that way. Now, getting all that.
It's not actually used as a holding cell anymore, right?
No, that door, can't use it as a holding cell, but taking out the bars and everything and that bench and then putting in a new sink, and they would have the floor. And,
You'd have to have cabinets for the hot water
and
heater.
I've been looking at prices at Ace and everything, so then get somebody to come in and do that, just for that little area.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
some quotes and stuff on that.
Okay.
I don't think it'd be very much.
So with that and the bathrooms and the annex, you just call that building maintenance,
It's capital
put them
improvement.
together. See, I don't know what it's gonna cost you.
That's capital improvement.
Yeah, but I mean, for the ARP. We'd have to get our bids done pretty quick. I'm supposed to get bids this week. Got my fingers crossed.
I know there's only certain,
So that
contractors.
we're getting towards the end of this budget year, so we need to be very mindful of what's left in the budget.
And there's only certain contractors will be able to use at the sheriff's office. If they come in there and redo all that fingerprinting and stuff, and
Right.
you can't just use.
So I guess back to my question, are we leaving the 180 in the local budget? And then if he has those funds available, and then if he uses ARP money,
Well, let's take it out. Let's put it in ARP.
I agree.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I'm not sure I do either, because I'm not that. That's a given that it's used in repeat for that. For all the cars.
that's kind of, I mean,
Just this 1 year.
yeah, it would just be.
We're not
this
saying I'll be
one year.
available.
I mean, it would go back into,
I mean, it's up to y'all. If y'all don't have a, I mean, this is what I said during the committee thing too. If we don't want to have a vision for the ARP, we can just, I mean.
so let me rephrase. The squad car line item is not listed as one of the line items that he could not move money from. Like.
So if he needed
So
to, he
if
could
he
move
needed-
money out
yeah,
of
if he
there.
needed more fuel money, he could move from that 180 if he's buying cars out of ARP, and he's got
So if
180.
you don't take it out, you can just prepay more.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
can move it anywhere it wants. So it needs to be taken.
That, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why
It's gotta come out.
That's what I was
You need to
saying.
have-
So it's not a padded budget.
Buys his cars out of the local money and doesn't use ARP, or he uses ARP and it's not in his local budget for this upcoming
Yeah.
year.
I figured that's what you were saying.
I got you.
Yeah.
But is everybody,
Not that,
squad
not that that
cars
would
coming out
happen.
of
Well, he's gonna need that.
Those are the scenarios you have to look at.
Yes.
Because we don't want
If he
to add,
provides a grant application with that request, then I'm fine with it. But if he provides us a grant application with that request, I'm fine with it, but he's gonna need to get us a request. We haven't done that yet.
That's what we have to decide.
So do we want to leave it in there until we receive an application?
so he's talked to you and he's talked to the judge about it?
He verbally spoke to me about it,
Oh, okay.
about the possibility of doing that. Yes.
Because we're kind of making a
Under-
decision for his
Your-
department.
Your authority would be to be able to tell him you're gonna use ARP money rather than local money.
Yeah,
Right.
I like it.
Thoughts? It's $180,000 worth of taxpayers' money we can save.
Mhm.
I'm okay with using the money. ARP money.
Okay. Anybody adamantly opposed to that? Hey, Laura, will you have him get me that application like this week, if possible?
He's training down south all week long, but I will get it prepared and ready.
Okay. Okay, he needs to sign off on that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll be back Friday.
Okay, Okay.
Get it first thing.
perfect, thanks.
We want to leave that there for now.
Yeah, maybe we can address, if I can get that Monday, we can address it Monday, since we're having a special meeting. Hear that, Laura? We're having a special meeting Monday, so if I get that
Yes.
this week or first thing Monday, we can address it.
And then on the jail, I accidentally left off their fuel budget. Sorry. We got to talking about it and we never put in the number, so I never put in the number. So I put in 15,000. That was based on the kind of the fuel analysis that I did. I just wanted to make sure that that was okay.
What was it last year?
It was 12,000 the prior year.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it started out as 5,000 and then they moved 7,000 into it to make it 12,000. And
I'm good with 15. Are y'all good with that?
you look, the current year projected average would be about 19,007, and then the 4-year average is about 14,600. So I just kind of went in the middle with 15. Well, it's not really.
I'm good with that. What else? Anything else, Lisa?
I need to change that Hutch Cares. I had 2,500 and it's supposed to be 3,000. That's in the county welfare now, so I will get that updated. On the library, on their equipment line item, they had requested 8,500 and we had pulled that over. But part of that was a $2,500 donation that they received. So their original budget started out at 6,000. So I didn't know if we wanted to make that 6,000 like the prior year before they got that donation, or if you wanted to leave it at 8,500.
I think it should be fine at 6.
I'd say 6.
I don't think I have budgets, so.
Okay.
I will change that back down to 6. I think that was all that I had.
Hey, you guys have any other questions on the budget or? Our budget calendar says we're going to hopefully adopt the budget and the tax rate on the 12th. So I know, I'm sorry. You can Zoom us.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything further? Okay. Hey, so we're gonna have a special meeting Monday. I will put budget workshop on there, so if we have some things we need to work on, then we can address those Monday. Also with the item for the extension office and ARP, that's kind of a budget issue. But if I'll put that ARP grant applications on there. And any questions? Hey, Monday at 9:30. Do I hear a motion? to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion a second. Any opposition? All in favor? Hey.